Okay, so good morning, everyone. Welcome to this week's Lunch and Learn with Curtis Mitchell, who is the principal of CM Designs Limited. Just so that everyone know, the session is being recorded, and please ask any questions in the chat, and we will be going over them at the end of the presentation. Thank you. Curtis, you can go ahead.
Perfect. Hey guys, first of all, just want to thank you for taking some time out of your day and meeting with me. I know everybody's cramming for the end of the year finals and projects and everything else. I put together this presentation. It's geared towards sort of explaining what your options are out of school as an architectural technologist with this diploma. And I'm going to explain my experience when I went to SAIT and I took this program and what I did out of school, and maybe it'll give you guys some ideas of what you want to do out of school. So I'll start with an introduction of myself. My name is Curtis Mitchell. I grew up in Cochrane, Alberta. I moved to Kelowna in 2013, and I worked for construction for a handful of years, framed houses. I returned to Calgary in 2015 and I took the AT program from 2015 to 2017. And then I moved back to Kelowna and I started working for a commercial firm for 4 years. And just last year in 2021, I started my own design company, CM Designs. And that company is based out of Kelowna, and we do work all over the Okanagan Valley. We do some work in Alberta. We do some work in Vancouver area. So I'm just going to start off with a couple questions. How many first years we got with us today? No first years? We got second years in the house? Yeah, I see a couple thumbs up. Right on. Well, special thank you to you guys, because I know you guys are, you got the capstones due, so that's great. How many people are right out of high school? You can drop it in the chat or give me a reaction too, or you can just unmute your mic and speak up. But how many of you guys came back after college, returning to college after taking some time off? Yeah, right on. Good for you guys. So yeah, like I said, the Lunch and Learn is going to be geared towards kind of explaining your career options out of AT program. When I went to school there, I didn't really know what I wanted to do. And the big question for me was, do you want to become an architect? Is it worth it? Or do you want to stay as an architectural technologist? So I've put together a couple pros and cons for both, but the high level for do I want to become an architect, really the only pros are if you really set on designing big buildings, schools, airports, hospitals, big towers. If that's like your absolute passion, then by all means, go for the additional years of schooling and become an architect. If you don't want to be, and you can still work on those projects at a commercial firm like Gibbs Gage or whatever, but you just can't sign off. And this is where I'm going to say the cons are, because if you want to become an architect, number one, you're going to be doing 7 additional years of schooling after your SAIT program. And you have to take on liability for the lifetime of the building when you stamp off on a project. So that can be quite stressful. That's another con. And then a third con that I would say, being an architect, you have to live in a big city. So if you guys are set on staying in Calgary or you want to move to Vancouver, then that's great. But if you think you want to go to small town BC or small town Alberta, whatever it is, you're pretty limited on becoming an architect, because those projects are typically in the bigger cities. And another con, and you guys are going to find this out pretty quick, it's not all designing as you might think. You know, there's a lot more that meets the eye. You've got code analysis, you've got fire stopping, you've got all these technical realities. that come along with designing a building, that you're going to spend more time doing that than you will actually designing these buildings. So kind of a disclaimer here. These are my personal opinions based on my personal experience, and obviously they're biased. So, you know, I'm not trying to talk you guys out of becoming an architect, but based on my experience, I would say, don't do it. So like I said, I took the program, I graduated 2017, I moved back to Kelowna, and I started working for Meiklejohn Architects. So Meiklejohn is the largest commercial firm between Calgary and Vancouver. They work on a lot of big projects, and I got the opportunity to work on the largest commercial tower between Calgary and Vancouver. It's 25 stories. It has over 400 parking stalls, and I was the head tech on that. And I had 3 members working under me, 3 techs working under me. Another project I worked on was this Ariva Resorts condominium. So it's a 5-phase condo project, super high end. And then if you want to go check them out, so I worked for them for 4 years, and I still have a really good relationship with them. And you can visit their website, meiklejohn.ca, and check out some of their projects. This Kelowna Visitor Center, I also did that project. It's right on the lake, and it's kind of where you go to, it's the tourist hub if you want maps and things like that. This project I also helped them with. But if you're interested in commercial architecture and you're interested in moving to Kelowna, I would check them out, and they're also looking to hire techs. So if that's something you think you're interested in, by all means, go to that website, give them a check out. And if you want somebody's contact from that office because you want to reach out and get employed, you can reach out to me and I can forward on a contact for you. So yeah, that was my experience at Meiklejohn. Now moving on. So you want to just stay a tech. A lot of people don't realize what you can actually design yourself as just a tech. You know, they think, okay, I'm going to go work for Gibbs Gage. I'm going to work on stairs and details for a couple of years, and I'm going to work my way up, and I'm going to be a head tech. And that's great. That's an awesome option. For me, I wanted to do a little bit more. I wanted to go out and I actually wanted to design myself. So as a tech, in fact, as any individual, you have the capability to design single family homes. You can do commercial renovations. You can do tenant improvements, and you can do multifamily projects such as townhomes, duplexes, as long as they're 4 units or less. And you can also work on commercial projects as long as they're 600 square meters or less. So people don't realize that, but if you think about 600 square meters or 6,500 square feet, it's actually quite a big footprint. So your limitations for being a tech, they're pretty high. Like you can design quite a lot before you have to get an architect involved. So CM Designs, that's my company. In the last year, I've completed, well, I was established in January of 2021, so it's been over a year now, but I've done 19 single family homes, 2 duplexes, 2 fourplexes, 9 renovations, and a commercial school. So it just goes to show that, you know, you don't have to become successful, you don't have to be working as an architect or for an architect. You can just use this tech diploma and you can become quite successful. So a piece of advice for you is always keep a professional attitude and good relationship with your employers. because, you know, Meiklejohn, I've got a good relationship with them. And actually this school project, what ended up happening is I got the, it was actually over 600 square meters and I got the job. So I was able to design the school and I was able to reach out to Meiklejohn Architects and have them stamp the project for me using their architect's stamp. So yeah, my tip to you would be when you enter the workforce and you go find yourself a good mentor, maintain a good relationship with them because you don't know how they might help you in the future. So for me, becoming a tech was not that's not where I wanted to end. I didn't want to be behind a computer for my whole life, and I didn't want to just work a 9 to 5 and that be it. And I don't want you guys to do that either. And I don't want you to, if you don't know this, you know, that's not the only thing to life, working that 9 to 5. So I'm segueing into property investments. So purchasing real estate is something that's always really interested me. And it's a great way to set yourself up for retirement, creating passive income. And the one thing that SAIT has taught you is using the map viewer software that the cities provide. So I was going to do a quick kind of exercise here where this is something that I do for my clients on a day-to-day basis. And this is something that I do for myself on a day-to-day basis. So if you're a young person looking to buy your first house, let's say, this is something you should be investigating. And if you're somebody who's looking for to do designs for a client, this is something you should be looking at. So what I do is, this is the Realtor website, realtor.ca. If you're not familiar with it, it's just the MLS, you know, where people who have homes, they get a realtor to post them online, and this is where they show up. So, you know, we're here at SAIT, and we want to buy a house in this area for under 500,000. So let's just pick one of these, sure, this one. So the first thing that I want to do is and I've already got this set up, but this is my Calgary, my property on the calgary.ca website. And you'll go onto this website. I'm sure you guys have done this already, but search up the address, 24 Northwest. So here's that property that we're reviewing, and it'll tell you that the zoning. So RC2 residential. So the next thing I'll do is RC2. So there it is. And it'll tell you what you can build. So it says we can do semi-detached, we can do single detached, we can have secondary suites. And then you look up here back to the listing, and this property is just a single family house. So just thinking so let's say a client comes to you, they say, I'm interested in buying this property, or I've already bought this property. What can I do with it? And you're like, oh, well, you can build a duplex. So here's a proposal, you know, you can do up the drawings and suggest that they want to buy a duplex, build a duplex. Or, you know, you're looking to purchase for yourself and you're thinking maybe at some point in the future you want to redevelop this. It's a good holding property, so you could build a duplex in the future. So yeah, that was just a quick exercise that I think another tip for you is get really good, get efficient at using this. This is going to be a big part if you want to get into residential design. It's going to be a big part of it. If you want to get into real estate investing, it's going to be a big part of it. So get good at this, using this piece of software. It's a cool, it's really advantageous to use that well. So I guess my property investment experience, I'll touch on that next. So in 2019, 2019, I started my own company in Washington, in the US, to buy and sell real estate. So I purchased homes that were in disrepair. So these were two examples. I did 5 properties since 2015, but these were 2 of my favorite properties. And we basically fully gutted the insides. I did the new floor plans using Revit, and I gave it to a contractor. They did the renovations, and then we sold them and we made quite a decent profit. And why did I do it in the US? Well, I picked up this first house here, this green one, for 120,000. And I put like 50,000 into it and sold it for like 300K. So it was a lot more attainable than in Canada, where the average home price here is, I mean, I think in Calgary it's 300,000. Here in Kelowna, the average home price is like 900,000. So, flipping homes is not a reality here for me. And that's why I started in Washington. But this just goes to show, you're not limited to working in just Calgary, just Kelowna, just Canada. You can branch out, you can go to other countries. And the other thing is, I worked a full-time job, and this was just a side gig for me. You don't have to be stuck to that 9 to 5 and think, oh, I don't have time to do these investments. This can just be a secondary for you. So a little bit about Kelowna. I guess, who's been to Kelowna? Any of you? Well, if you haven't been to Kelowna, you should. It's a beautiful place. It's 7 hours from Calgary. It's 4 hours from Vancouver, 6 hours from Seattle, and 5 hours from Spokane. And maybe you've never even been to Seattle or Spokane. The reason I put those on there is because I have investment properties in both of those places. And why do people move to Kelowna? Mostly it's for recreation. We live right on the lake. This is the city here. So we live right on the lake. We're 40 minutes from the ski hill. We're 20 minutes from the mountains, whether you want to do mountain biking or hiking or rock climbing or dirt biking. So that's a big factor. People come here for the recreation. But the other reason people move to Kelowna is because it's booming. So Vancouver, the average home price is 3 million. And there's so much wealth there that a lot of the investors are coming from Vancouver to Kelowna and bringing money with them. And they're developing, and they're building towers, and they're building residential, and they're building commercial and what have you. And what happened in Alberta, when the oil, I'm picking carefully what I'm going to say here because I don't like our prime minister, but when the oil and gas industry went to shit, for lack of a better word, people, the working class, began looking at alternates and came to Kelowna, increasing the population. So the population's constantly increasing, and as such, it's got high demand. So long story short, there's just a massive boom in Kelowna, and it's an awesome, and it's still quite at the base of where it's going to go. I told you the average home price is 900,000, but the average home price in Vancouver is 3 million. So we've got a long way to go before we hit that ceiling. So you'd still be getting in at the low side if you came here and you wanted to help build it up. There's a just crazy amount of growth right now. as far as looking at it from a designer perspective, and you want to start drafting and whatnot and helping out with some of these projects. So my last slide here is I wanted to tell you guys my my experience, but I also wanted to offer everybody a job. So I'm looking for 2 techs to come move to Kelowna and start working for me and in the residential world. So what I would ask is if you or any of your friends are interested in that lifestyle change, and you could email me at kurt_mitch@outlook.com, and we can arrange further, whether we have a Zoom or a phone call or what have you. I think it would be a very cool opportunity, because this position wouldn't only be a drafting position, but also it would segue into the development side of things, the flipping of the homes, and potentially actually, what do we do? Budgeting, putting together estimates for projects, because that's a big factor too. When you look to get a loan on an investment property, the banks want to see an estimate for what the project's going to cost. So you guys have all taken the estimating course. Might be a segue into that aspect as well. So yeah, I think we covered it all in 26 minutes. So I'm gonna open it up to any questions, comments you guys have.
I guess I'll start with a question, but for anybody interested in this job opportunity, what are the biggest things that you're looking for from applicants? Like, what would you like to see from students?
So you guys are, I mean, maybe some people have had work experience in the past, but for the most part, you guys don't have much experience. You guys are just straight out of school. And I don't want to discourage you, but you know, SAIT gives you an incredible base. They teach you the software, they teach you Revit, they teach you AutoCAD, they teach you SketchUp, what have you. But in the big scheme of things, you don't know anything. So what do I expect out of an applicant? I'm not expecting much. I'm going to teach you so much. I'm going to make you the best tech there is.
And additionally, because this is obviously a relocation for a lot of people, does your company help out with that at all, or you just expect people to kind of move on their own and then start with you guys?
Yeah, good question. It would be definitely a relocate and lifestyle change. So that would be something you're going to have to just consider. I probably wouldn't be open to like helping with housing or anything like that. Yeah, the other option is, if it was the right person, I would accept a remote position. You know, everything's changing, and especially I think for you guys, I think most of your schooling was online this last year or last 2 years. I'm not 100% sure, but my job has changed significantly as well over the last 2 years, and I do almost everything over Zoom. So I don't think it's unrealistic to think that you could actually work in Calgary on Kelowna projects if it was the right fit. So I would accept a remote position as well. Cool. Anything, anybody else got some questions?
If anyone has questions for the chat as well, we can read them out.
Mhm.
How do you find, because obviously Lindsay was saying she taught you, how do you find the building code and just rules and restrictions differ from Calgary to Kelowna?
Um, the thing is with the building code is, yeah, again, SAIT teaches you the basics, but you don't really know the building code until you start working with it. And for me, because I never worked for a long period of time in Alberta, I couldn't tell you the specifics and nuances between the two different codes. But for the most part, everything was based around the National Building Code, and the BC Building Code is not too different. So it's just something to get used to. It's just like the bylaws and zonings in a different city. Once you know the basics of one city, it's pretty easy to apply it to other ones. You understand the structure, I guess, and then and as long as you understand that, you can kind of figure your way around a different city or a different province.
Okay, cool. The question from the chat is how many people are in your company?
Right now, it's just me. I have 2 techs that work part-time as subcontractors, but I'm looking to actually put somebody on the payroll and have them work full-time. I just secured 2 quite large projects. I've got a 37 unit townhome project in Vernon, and then another 24 unit townhome project at Predator Ridge, which is it's a super nice golf course out here in Kelowna. So that's going to keep me busy as a solo tech for the next year. Or I bring 2 techs on and we can bang it out over the summer.
Lindsay says, do you hire old instructors?
Yes, of course. You looking to come to Kelowna?
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Well, I'm just looking at the chat here too. It says, would you be open to internship positions for first year students soon? That's an interesting one. I would be open to that, yeah. And Caitlin says, in regards to the remote position, what would that look like? Pretty much what that would look like is you'd have to supply the computer, and I could supply the software, and then we would basically Zoom every Tuesday, Thursday kind of thing for an hour, make sure we're on the right track, and then you can work at your own pace as long as you're meeting whatever we decide, 40 hours a week. That would be a cool option for somebody, because you could work evenings if that worked better for you. You could work weekends if that worked better. I wouldn't really care what your hours looked like, as long as you were meeting the quota as far as 40 hours a week.
And the positions you're looking to fill are completely full-time, correct?
Yeah, ideally they'd be full-time, unless there was, yeah, I think full-time's the right move. Question for you guys is, so the second years that are with us, who's looking to work in commercial versus who's looking to work in residential? I guess drop a 1 if you're thinking commercial in the chat. No preference, just need a job. There we go, honesty. Looks like most people are looking for both, have no preference. That's cool. So how's I thought the Calgary was still pretty good as far as hiring, Gibbs Gauge and S2, all those big companies, they're still constantly hiring, no?
Yeah, we have our industry night. Obviously, I'm talking to you about that later, but
Mhm.
in the next couple weeks, and then I know quite a few students have just began positions lately, and it seems to be lots of interview processes getting completed very quickly for the people that I know so far.
Yeah. And how many companies do you have coming to industry night so far?
So far, 3 are confirmed, and then we have until April 8th to kind of get everybody RSVP'd.
Cool. So I got this comment. It's a great year to be graduating AT this year, hearing about lots of opening this year. Why is this year specifically great to be graduating?
Hey Curtis, how you doing?
Hey, Will, how you doing? Good, thanks.
Yeah, no, it's every year, I get a few companies that reach out to me saying, hey, do you know any ATs looking for a job? And just in the last few weeks, I've had, I don't know, I think I've up past 8 companies that have reached out to me. Like, it's unprecedented. I've never had this many companies reaching out, specifically asking, for a new recent grad. And there's all the other companies too that are probably open, like the Gibbs Gauges, the Dialogues and stuff like that certainly apply to. But yeah, to have so many companies directly reaching out looking for a junior AT is quite unprecedented. Most companies don't even advertise positions for junior ATs because they're usually a dime a dozen, and there's always somebody applying for a job. So but I think it looks good. There've been a few years, probably back when you graduated, Curtis, where it didn't always seem so great, the prospects out there. But this is shaping up to look like a really good year.
Yeah, that's great. Nice to hear from you. All right, guys. Well, it was a pleasure speaking with you, and I'll leave you guys with the last 20 minutes to maybe grab a bite to eat before you got to get back to class.
Awesome. Thanks, Curtis, for doing a presentation with us, and thanks for everyone coming in. We hope to see everyone in the next Lunch and Learn. Thanks, everyone.
And I guess I'll just, if you guys didn't grab that email, I'll just put it in the chat here real quick, and you can copy and paste that if you're interested in applying.